Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you so much for joining me on Story Talk. And today is October the 18th. And after today's session, I'm going to take a break for about a week, maybe a week and one day. But I will be back probably on Tuesday the 30th. I need to take care of some things, guys, so I need to take a break. In the event that I need more time, I may come on momentarily just to say, "Hey guys, how you doing? It's me, Linda," and just give you guys a quick update as to where I am. I'm working on a project. I'm gonna tag a few of my friends in, and then we're gonna get started. This will be a quick session, I promise. I've been doing a lot of reading, so I have some things that I need to complete and get done. But yeah, so yesterday we talked about themes, and I wanted to kind of like follow up as this. I want to say genres always we kind of segue into genres after we talk about themes because they all just kind of go hand in hand. And I'm on two Facebook Lives, everyone. So just for the benefit of satisfying both audiences, I'm looking into each camera, trying to give you all my undivided attention. But I want to say, here is my little book, My Bright Ideas. So I went back looking through this during the beginning of my first and second session or second season of Story Talk when I first started. And I remember I was writing down my bright ideas, and I don't know if you all remember, I should have pulled this out, but I actually published a journal and I called it My Bright Ideas. It's available on Amazon, but that was a guided journal book that I published. But the reason why I published that because I realized through this little book called Bright Ideas, I was writing down a lot of journaling ideas in here, and then I wrote about themes. I wrote about genres and fiction writing, even subgenres and so forth. And I said, "Wow, I'm so glad that I had this. I found this little book, and it's going to kind of give me just a little guidance tonight." But let me just say that some popular uh, genres and fiction storytelling that you all should be familiar with, especially those who are fiction writers, is number one, mystery. People love to read. Um, when they go to the bookstores or to the library, they automatically they gravitate towards the genre of mystery because people enjoy reading those kind of books. Those are the kind of stories where it actually involves solving some kind of crime or some kind of puzzle, some kind of unraveling puzzle. So yeah, I actually like those kind of stories. At least I'm gonna say since I've been working with a client and an author, he writes these kind of stories, and it's like I didn't know I really like this genre of fiction, but yeah, I'm really enjoying it tremendously. And then another one that I don't enjoy, but it's probably one of the most popular. I want to say probably at the top five is romance. If you can write romance, and you write it well, and romance are basically stories that focuses on love and relationships. If you can write those stories well, boy, you have a whole big audience out there that loves romance. I don't though. I don't know why, but I just don't. Even movies, I don't like romance movies. It doesn't. I'm not drawn into those kind of stories. But one thing I do love is science fiction. So we have what mystery, romance, science fiction is one of my favorites. So those are the kind of stories that explores like scientific concepts. Yeah, or Back to the Future, futuristic kind of stories. Fantasy is another big one, and I do like fantasy. Those are the kind of stories that involve like mystical creatures or magical. Children's stories. Children usually love these kinds of stories, or a story that takes place in an imaginary world. So yeah, fantasy is also one of, I want to say, the most popular um, genres in fiction storytelling. And then you have thrillers. Oh my goodness, it's Halloween. So coming up, I don't celebrate Halloween. I don't even want to be outside on Halloween. But you know, there are a lot of thriller movies, and there are a lot of, you go into bookstores, thriller books. There, as soon as you walk in the door, you see them. So those are the kind of stories that create some form or some kind of suspense and excitement. And but those kind of stories often involve like something dangerous, or there's something, there's danger ahead in the story, or some kind of race against time. So yeah, that's what thrillers deal with. I actually had to edit an author's book, and his book is a thriller, and it's about the serial killer. And oh my goodness, I'm following along. So I've done like the first two books, and now I'm waiting for the third one. So I'm telling you, I'm like drawn into the story right now because it's this one character, this detective, and I'm like really, really intrigued by not only how he's telling the story, but how he's written the story. Oh my goodness. And then one of my all-time favorites, and I want to say this is a popular genre of storytelling. Hi, Janet. Good to see you there, my dear. Um, and for everyone else who's out there, because I'm on two different Facebook Lives, thank you guys. I can't respond to this particular one, but I see you guys there. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. But historical fiction happens to be one of my favorite genres also, and those are the kind of stories that are like set in a specific historical period. Yeah, some kind of specific historical period, and it's often blending with real events with fictional characters and the plots. But one of my favorite all-time historical fiction stories is Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. If you haven't read it, you have to read this book. And there's this character, his name is Pip. Oh my God, I fell in love with this character. I don't want to tell you the story, but I want you to pick up the book. It's a very big book, but I'm telling you, you will be so drawn in from the beginning as you're reading this book. And this is, I want to also say, probably like because Pip is this little boy, this is like a coming of age Victorian era type of story. But I'm going to say Great Expectations is probably one of my favorite books that I've ever had to read in school, or I just ever read. Had I not had to read it for school, I probably wouldn't have read it, but I enjoyed reading it, and I would read it over and over and over again. Another genre of fiction storytelling is the kind of stories like we're talking about, thriller. It's Halloween time, horror books. Horror. I don't say that word too well, but like horror stories. Those are the kind of narratives that, they aim to scare the reader, or involve some kind of supernatural element or psychological suspense. So yeah, those are great. If you are that kind of writer and you can write that genre well, oh my goodness, you're going to do very, very well as an author. And then you have adventure. I love adventure. Adventure are stories that involve exciting and daring journeys or quest. Yeah, so I love stories that deal with adventure, the adventure genre. And then, of course, young adult. Those are stories that are targeted towards teenage readers. And when I grew up, I don't know if you all remember Judy Blume. Oh my goodness, are you there? God, it's me, Margaret. I want to go see that movie. How many of y'all saw that movie? I didn't see it yet. But growing up, that was one of my favorite stories. Judy Blume was one of my favorite authors when I was a teenager. And I remember I read one of her books. It was called Blubber, about a girl that she was fat. But it was like the way she wrote the story. So I kind of followed Judy Blume. She's one of my favorite all-time childhood authors. But yeah, young adult stories. And again, these are stories that are like, that deals with the theme. We talked about themes yesterday, coming of age and those kind of issues. And then you have contemporary fiction. Those are stories that are set in the present time, or often exploring some kind of realistic situation with characters and situations within the story. But I want to say my number one of all time genres is classic fiction, historical fiction, novels. I'm even though I'm not really into the romance, Jane Eyre happens to be one of my favorite books. By that was written by an author named Charlotte Bronte. You all probably heard of the Bronte sisters. They disguised themselves as men when they first started publishing that work, but as time went on and their written works became very popular, they revealed that they were actually three sisters. They were three women, Charlotte, Emily, and is it Anne Bronte? I think it's Anne. Yeah. Anyway, they have some great stories out, but Jane Eyre happens to be one of my favorites. Also, Wuthering Heights. I think Emily Bronte wrote that. I read them all. I just can't always remember their names, but I do know that Jane Eyre happens to be one of my favorites. But if you like Jane Eyre, and if that was one of your favorite books, I want to challenge you, and I'm going to tell you to read a book. It's called Wide Sargasso Sea. Wide Sargasso. I think it's Sargosso. Wide Sargasso Sea is by an author named, her name is Jean Rice, and I think the way you spell her last name is Rhys, Jean Rice. Maybe I'm not saying it right, but the book Wide Sargasso Sea, I think they made it into a movie. You can actually watch the movie Jane Eyre. You can watch the movie Wide Sargasso Sea. But I would tell you to read the book first, so that way you can, see how the author is using imagery and telling these stories. And oh my goodness. But it's just that after you read that book, what I love that Jean Rice did is she took a flat character in the story of that Charlotte Bronte created called Jane Eyre, and there was a woman in the attic in Jane Eyre, and that's like a mystery throughout the entire story that I really really loved, and just the play on how she creatively wrote this story. But sometimes you can have a flat character in a story, and then you know what you can do if there's a book you like, or if there's a movie you like, and there's a character that appeared with some kind of mystery to this character. Maybe you can write a story, take that flat character and create a whole new story. So this author brought some light to the world to bring a reader into the world of the woman in the attic. So after you read her story and you found out about the life of the woman in the attic, trust me, you're not going to feel the same way about Jane Eyre, because I know I didn't. Anyway, guys, there's so much more when it comes to, or as it pertains to fiction genres. But I just wanted to just share these few with you guys, just for the sake of touching on this particular topic, because you guys, you emailed me, and again, my email is marshaelin@aol.com. That's MARSHAELIN @aol.com. And again, guys, you can email me with questions or what have you. My website is www.positivethinkingwillmakeyouhappy.com. And again, I hope that you enjoyed this session as I discussed some of the genres. There are so many more, but also keep in mind that there are also many others, as well as subgenres and variations within each that deals with even the themes that we talked about yesterday. So check out yesterday's story talk, and then today, and if I have time, maybe I'll come back, when I come back after my little week break, and I'll talk to you guys about, some of the subgenres and that type of thing, and the various variations, and that how the themes are connected. Because sometimes you can have genre and a theme all kind of like and combined in one. The more you write, the more you read, you'll learn this stuff. But I learned all of this stuff in school, and it was wonderful. And I love to write, guys. So anyway, y'all know I have this book that we've been focused on. Let me show you how to write a book. And this is just a guide to help those who are new writers. even if you are an established author, it's always good to kind of get a recap of the things that you know, or maybe the things you thought you know and you don't quite know. It's just a guide, guys, and I hope that you all will utilize it. Keep it somewhere on your shelf, because you never know when you'll need it. I am a writing coach. I am a ghostwriter. I'm also a proof editor. So if you have written a book and you need someone to proof edit, I do charge for this, guys. This is what I do now, and this is how I earn my money. So if you guys need my assistance, you need my help, you need someone to help you to get started, to tell your story, I'm here to help. And, for the fees that I charge, I think I'm very reasonable. Just, email me, marshalyn@aol.com, and we can talk about your project. Anyway, I'll see you guys probably around the 30th, 31st, or maybe the following week thereafter. But I promise you guys, I will be on Story Talk, even if it's just for 5 minutes, just to kind of check in with you guys. Let you guys know how I'm doing with this project that I'm working on. I love you guys. There's nothing you can do about it. And you all know the drill by now. Listen, positive thinking will make you happy. This was my first solo book that I ever published. And this book is a 40-day real-time journal that's also available worldwide. And I want to say the name of the book aligns with my mission and my message. And it's actually a name that God gave to me. The Holy Spirit gave to me. I didn't come up with it. He gave it to me. Like he gives me so many other things. And I want to share it with the world. So I hope that one day you'll be driving along in your car and you'll look up at a billboard and you'll see a billboard that says positive thinking will make you happy. Philippians 4:8. And I want to share that scripture with you guys. And that scripture is found, and again, Philippians 4:8. And that's in the New Testament. And it says, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest. Hi, Raynell. That's my girl. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things. And guys, those are all positive things. And I'm telling you guys, I have a vision, and I do believe that these billboards will be all over the world, on billboards, on moving vehicles like buses and trains. You get on a train, the subway, and you see these little advertisements. I'm believing positive thinking will make you happy will be on these moving vehicles. And if somebody out there, if you have some kind of connection and you can make it happen, we need to talk. I might need your help. Anyway, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much. I see family on here. God bless you, Cousin Courtney. God bless you, dear. You're always such a support. And I pray wonderful things and God's blessings upon your life, my dear. And to the very first person that read my first manuscript when I just got into this creative writing course was Raynell. Thank you so much, Raynell, because you really inspired me. And my book, Standing at the Gate, I didn't bring it with me. I left it upstairs, guys. But we're going to talk about Standing at the Gate. I'm going to just be doing some separate things, and I'm going to share. I'm going to do some book readings from Standing at the Gate. I wanted to do a Zoom and bring some people on Zoom and talk about why I wrote the book and what inspired the book. So, I'll let you guys know sometime during next week when I'm going to do that. And if you are interested and you would like to be a part of that Zoom, email me at marshalyn@aol.com. As soon as I end this live, I'll put my email address if you don't remember it. And let me know if you'd be interested. It would be no charge to join that Zoom. Just want to talk about why I wrote the book, because listen, October is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I think that we do need to shed some light on the theme of suicide, because it is a real thing. It is a real thing. Mental illness is a real thing. Post-traumatic stress, depression. People are going through this every day. But it's good to know that there are some people who are so passionate about it and they genuinely care. And I happen to be one of them. Anyway, guys, I love you, and I wish I could stay here longer, but I'm gonna let you guys go because guess what? I have my class tonight, and I need to get back to just kind of reviewing what I've already read, because we are reading through the New Testament and we are just going right through. But the Holy Spirit is moving mightily, guys, and I'm learning a lot. Things that you think you know and you've read the Bible so many times. Listen, the more you read the Bible, the more God gives you new revelation. Yes. So he reveals things to us through his word. And I hope that that happens to you the more that you read the Bible, and as well as reading other stories. It could be fiction or nonfiction stories. And then the other thing, I'm going to do something special. I know we have some poets out there. Thank you guys for your questions about poetry. I want to say, and I'll just say this publicly, I am not a poet, um, by trade. However, I do write poetry, but it's just more like journaling poetry. But someone had asked me would I do like a poetry slam, and I think I'm gonna think about how I want to do that. I might also do that on a Zoom, on like a virtual Zoom, and anybody would be able to come. So if you have a gift to write poetry, songwriting, if you're a songwriter, listen, I need to talk to you because maybe you could be a part of this. Email me again at marshalyn@aol.com and we'll talk about it. So yeah, we're going to talk about some poetry. My husband writes poetry, Elder Thomas Johnson, and also he has a book. Um, he has a book. It's called Black on the Wall by T.W. Johnson. It's available. It's available worldwide, but you can get it on Amazon. And please make sure that yes, yes, cuz yes, yes, yes. So many people deal with post-traumatic stress disorder, and I think that yeah, we do need to write about it, but also journaling helps with that as well. I had a journaling session, and I'm going to do it before this fifth season of Story Talk ends. I'm going to invite you all to do a journaling session with me. I'm going to have a journal writing session. All I'm going to ask you guys to do is buy me a cup of coffee. And when I say buy me a cup of coffee, you can cash out me $10 that'll pay for me some Starbucks coffee, because I love doing this, and I usually like to do it when I'm in a coffee shop. So there's no obligation. You really don't have to. I'm just being funny by saying that. But if you want to bless me with a cup of coffee, by all means, listen, there is no blessing that is too small for me. My Cash App, I will give it to you if you want it. So just let me know. But anyway, guys, again, I enjoyed this session. I hope that you go back and look at my 10-step method that I talked about with you guys last week of writing your book, how to get started. Some people have also shared with me in some of the questions, how do you deal with writer's block? Listen, writer's block is a very, very real thing, and every writer deals with it, including myself. There are some people that they don't believe that writer's block is a real thing, but I'm telling you that it is, because I got writer's block on January, it was either the 16th or the 17th. I'm going to pull out I have a journal book. It's up here. I got to pull it out. And this is a real thing. In my journal, that morning when I wrote the word sadness in a sad face. I actually wrote that on the page, on one page. That was like my mind dumping. I talked about my mind dumping process. And I'll talk about that if you guys join me on this journaling session. But it is a real thing. So I had writer's block, not knowing that in March we were going to be hit with this pandemic and we were going to have the shutdown. But I had sadness, and I didn't know why I had sadness. And I couldn't write. I couldn't write. All I could do was pray and read my word and meditate, but I could not write a thing. So I had like a writer's block time in my life. And that's the only time I ever had a writer's block like that. But yeah, so to answer the questions of the people that did ask me about it, yes, writer's block is real. And I'll talk to you guys about that when I come back on Story Talk, and I'll give you some tips of how I learned to navigate my way through writer's block. Anyway, let me put my glasses back on. Oh yeah, you guys, such a blessing. Thank you. But anyway, I love you guys, and I hope that you all have a blessed night. It is almost at the top of the hour, and I believe, and this is a quote that God gave me again, something else He gave to me. I have a book that's called Violated Victim, Validated Victor, Breaking My Hush. And on the back of my book, I wrote, if some of us will help one of us can help all of us. That's a quote that God gave to me, and that's a quote that I want to share with you. Remember, if some of us will help just one of us can certainly help all of us. Who will be that one of us? Just That's just food for thought, guys. Anyway, I love you guys, and I'll see you next time on Story Talk. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. And please don't forget to share this live. Check out my YouTube channel, Story Talk, with Linda Johnson. And I promise you guys, I will be giving you some kind of update. But when I come back, we're going to talk about writer's block. And I'm going to still go back into what we talked about with themes and genres and the various variations, and how they all kind of tie in with one another. And we're going to also do the poetry and the journaling session. So, yeah, I'm looking for your emails, guys, and keep sending me those questions. But when you read the books, especially if you all have an opportunity to read my husband's book, Black on the Wall by T.W. Johnson, please, 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 I'm begging you all, please write a review. Those reviews mean so much to authors and so much to readers. They really, really do. And then the last thing someone asked is, when will I have a book signing? Well, I'm trying to work something out, and that's why I need to take this time to really map out, you know, I want to say the rest of the year. I am going to put something together probably in November. And if you're in the New York area, then you would be invited. You can come if it's not too far for you to come. I'm going to do a book reading, and I'm going to do a book signing. My husband and I will both be doing this. So I think you're going to enjoy this. Anyway, guys, I love you and have a good night. And please don't forget to like and to share the live. God bless you.